Title: He escaped for 7 years, until police made one move. True crime-inspired story. Chapter 1: The night he disappeared. The night was quiet. Too quiet. Officer Daniel Reed stood outside a small house. His hands were steady, but his mind was not. Inside the house was a man they had been looking for. A dangerous man. A man who had hurt someone. Badly. "Stay ready," Daniel whispered to his team. They nodded. Flashlights off. Guns ready. Everything was planned. Everything was under control. Or so they thought. The door opened slowly. "Police, don't move," Daniel shouted. They rushed inside. Fast. Strong. Focused. But something was wrong. Very wrong. The house was empty. No sound. No movement. Just silence. Daniel looked around. "Check every room," he ordered. Officers moved quickly. Bedroom. Bathroom. Kitchen. Nothing. No one. The man was gone. "How?" one officer asked. Daniel walked slowly into the living room. He looked down. The window. It was open. A small opening. But enough. He ran. Daniel said quietly. Outside, the ground was soft. There were footprints. Fresh. He was not far. "Move!" Daniel shouted. They ran outside, following the tracks. Fast. Through the backyard. Over a fence. Into darkness. The night swallowed everything. The man knew the area. He moved fast. Smart. Like he had planned this. The officers spread out. Searching. Calling out. But the man was gone. Just like that. Vanished. That was the moment everything changed. Because now, this was not just an arrest. This was a man on the run. And he had a head start. The next morning, the city woke up to bad news. A suspect had escaped. The police were searching. People were told to stay alert, to be careful, to report anything strange. Daniel sat at his desk, looking at a photo. The man's face. Cold eyes. Calm expression. Name: Marcus Hale. Age: 34. No steady job. No clear past. But one thing was clear. He was dangerous. Daniel leaned back, frustrated. "He was right there," he said. Another officer nodded. He knew we were coming. Daniel looked up. "That's the problem," he said. Marcus didn't run in fear. He ran with a plan. That made him harder to catch. Days passed. Search teams worked nonstop. Roads were checked. Cameras were reviewed. People were questioned. But nothing. No sign. No trace. Marcus had disappeared. Like smoke in the air. Daniel didn't give up. He couldn't. He knew what kind of man Marcus was. Calm. Careful. Patient. Those kind of people don't make easy mistakes. Weeks turned into months. Still nothing. The case got colder. Leads stopped coming. People stopped talking about it. But Daniel didn't stop. He kept the file on his desk. Every day, he looked at it, studied it. "Where did you go?" he whispered. Because he knew something important. People like Marcus don't just vanish. They hide. They wait. They build new lives. Somewhere. And Daniel knew one more thing. If Marcus felt safe, he would make a mistake. One day. Somewhere. A small mistake. And when that happened, Daniel would be ready. But that day did not come quickly. Year 1 passed. No sign. Year 2 passed. Still nothing. People started to forget. But Daniel didn't. Year 3. Year 4. Year 5. Time kept moving. But the case stayed open. Then came year 6. Something changed. A small report came in. From another town. Far away. A man was seen. Quiet. Alone. Different name. But something felt familiar. Daniel looked at the photo. His heart beat faster. It could be him, he said. But they needed more. They needed proof. Because Marcus was smart. He changed his look, his name, his life. He became someone else. That made it harder, but not impossible. Then came year 7. 7 years of waiting. 7 years of searching. 7 years of silence. And then one small thing happened. A mistake. A tiny mistake. But it was enough. And that one mistake would change everything. Because after 7 years, The man who disappeared was about to be found. Chapter 2, The One Mistake. 7 years had passed. For most people, the story was over. Forgotten. Old news. But not for Daniel. Not for the police. They never closed the case. They never stopped looking, even when it felt impossible, even when there was nothing new, because they knew something important. People who run don't stop being careful. But no one is perfect. Everyone makes a mistake, even the smartest ones. And Marcus Hale was about to make one. It started with something small, very small, a simple job, in a small town, far away from where everything began. The town was quiet, just like the one he left behind. That's why he chose it. No attention, no questions, no noise. Marcus had a new name now. He called himself Evan Cole. He worked at a repair shop, fixing things, keeping his head down, talking very little. People in the town knew him, but not really. They saw him, but they didn't know him. And that's how he wanted it. For years, he lived like that. Careful, quiet, invisible. He paid in cash. Didn't use his real name. Didn't stay in one place too long. He changed small things about his look. Grew a beard. Cut his hair differently. Even changed the way he walked. Everything was planned. Everything was controlled. And for a long time, it worked. But then, something changed. One afternoon, Marcus stood at the repair shop. A man walked in. "Can you fix this?" the man asked. Marcus nodded. "Leave it here." The man placed an old phone on the table. Marcus looked at it. Then something inside him shifted. A small thought. A small risk. For years, he avoided phones. Avoided anything that could track him. But now, he felt safe. Too safe. That was the problem. He believed the search was over. He believed no one was looking anymore. And that belief made him careless. Later that night, Marcus sat alone, looking at the phone. He turned it on. The screen lit up. Bright. Simple. Normal. He stared at it, thinking. Then slowly, he connected it to the internet. Just for a moment. Just to check something. Just one time. That was a mistake. Because the moment that phone connected, it sent a signal. A small signal. But not invisible. Not to the system. Not to the people still watching. Miles away, in a quiet office, a computer made a sound. A soft beep. An officer looked at the screen. Frowned. "Wait, what is this?" he said. Another officer walked over. "What?" The first officer pointed. "This signal, it matches something old." The second officer leaned closer. "How old?" The first officer took a breath. 7 years. Silence. Heavy silence. "Call Detective Reed," the second officer said. Daniel arrived fast. He looked at the screen. His eyes focused. "Show me," he said. The officer explained. An old device pattern just showed up. It matches data from the original case. Daniel didn't speak right away. He just stared. 7 years. And now, a signal. "Can we trace it?" he asked. "We're trying," the officer replied. The room filled with tension. Everyone was quiet, working, watching, waiting. Seconds felt long. Minutes felt longer. Then, "We got a location." Daniel stepped closer. "Where?" The officer pointed. "A small town, about 3 hours from here." Daniel nodded slowly. This could be it. But he stayed calm, because he knew something. Hope can be dangerous. They needed to be sure. "Don't rush," he said. "Watch first." They monitored the signal. Carefully, the phone connected again. Then again. Each time, the location stayed the same. That made it stronger, more real. "This isn't random," Daniel said. "This is him." The team prepared quietly. No noise, no rush, because after 7 years, they couldn't make a mistake. They studied the area, the streets, the buildings, the people. Then they found something. A man working at a repair shop. Quiet, alone. The photo came up. Daniel looked at it. Long and hard. The face was different. Older. Changed. But the eyes were the same. "That's him," Daniel said. No doubt. No hesitation. Marcus Hale. After 7 years, he was found, but the job was not finished. Not yet, because finding him was only the first step. Catching him would be the hardest part. That night, Daniel stood with his team again, just like 7 years ago. But this time, he was ready, more careful, more patient, more focused. "We do this right," he said. "No mistakes." The team nodded. They knew what this meant. 7 years of waiting, 7 years of searching, all leading to this moment. Daniel took a deep breath. "This time," he said quietly, "he doesn't escape." Because the man who vanished for 7 years had finally made his move, and now the police were about to make theirs. Chapter 3. The final move. The town was quiet, just like every other day. People walked on the streets. Cars moved slowly. Nothing looked wrong. Nothing looked dangerous. But hidden inside that calm town, something big was about to happen. Detective Daniel Reed stood inside an unmarked car, watching, waiting. His eyes were locked on one place, the repair shop. "That's him," he said softly. Inside the shop, Marcus Hale stood at a table, working, fixing something small, calm, normal, like he had been for the past 7 years. But today was different, very different, because he was no longer invisible. The police were there, watching every move, studying everything. "Stay patient," Daniel told his team. "We don't rush." They had learned from the past. 7 years ago, they moved too fast, and Marcus escaped. This time, they would not make that mistake. Hours passed. Marcus stayed inside, working, talking to no one, just like always. "Does he suspect anything?" one officer asked. Daniel shook his head. "No, he thinks he's safe." That was their advantage. If Marcus felt safe, he would stay calm. And if he stayed calm, he would not run. Evening came. The sky slowly turned dark. Lights came on inside the shop. Marcus cleaned his tools, put things away, locked the door. Then he stepped outside. That was the moment. Daniel leaned forward. "Get ready," he said. The team moved quietly, slowly. No sudden actions, no loud sounds. Marcus walked down the street, hands in his pockets. Relax. He had done this many times. Same path, same routine. That routine would be his mistake. "Now!" an officer whispered. Daniel watched closely. "Not yet." Marcus turned a corner. A quieter street. Less people. Less light. That was perfect. Daniel nodded. "Now." Everything moved at once. Fast, but controlled. Officers stepped out, blocking both ends of the street. "Police, don't move." Marcus froze. For 1 second. Just one. Then he ran. Fast. Just like before. Instinct. Fear. He didn't think. He just ran. "Go!" Daniel shouted. Officers chased him. Footsteps loud. Breathing heavy. The street turned into a race. Marcus moved fast, but not like before. 7 years had changed him. He was older, slower, less sharp, but still dangerous. He jumped over a small fence, almost fell, kept going. Daniel followed, closed behind. "Stop," he shouted. But Marcus didn't stop. He couldn't, because he knew what this meant. If he stopped, it was over. Everything was over. So he kept running. Down another street, then another. His breath became heavy, his legs weaker. The distance closed. Closer, closer. Then he slowed. Just a little. But it was enough. Daniel saw it. This was the moment. He pushed harder, faster. One final move. Marcus turned his head, saw Daniel, right behind him. His eyes filled with fear. Real fear, for the first time in years. He tried to run faster, but his body didn't respond. Not like before. Daniel reached out, grabbed him. Both men fell to the ground. Hard. A loud thud. Dust in the air. Silence for 1 second. Then, "Don't move," Daniel shouted. Marcus struggled, but it was weak. Too weak. 7 years of running ended in that moment. Officers rushed in, helping, holding, securing. Handcuffs clicked. Tight. Final. Marcus stopped moving. He lay there, breathing hard, looking at the ground. "It's over," Daniel said. Marcus didn't answer. He just closed his eyes, because he knew it was true. 7 years, 7 long years of hiding, running, living a different life. All gone in one moment. Daniel stood up slowly, looking down at him. "You ran for a long time," he said, "but you made one mistake." Marcus opened his eyes, looked at him. No anger, no words, just silence, because deep inside, he knew that small moment, that small choice, turning on that phone, feeling safe, that was all it took. One mistake. That's all it ever takes. Later that night, the town was quiet again, but this time it felt different because the danger was gone. The man who disappeared was finally found, and the case was finally closed. Back at the station, Daniel sat at his desk, looking at the same photo, the one he kept for 7 years. He placed it down slowly. "It's done," he said quietly. An officer smiled. 7 years, he said. Daniel nodded. 7 years, he repeated. But to him, it felt like one long day, one long chase. And now, it was over. But the lesson stayed. Strong, clear, real. No matter how long someone runs, no matter how careful they are, no matter how smart they think they are, one mistake is all it takes. And when that mistake comes, everything changes. Marcus Hale thought he had escaped. He thought he had disappeared forever. But in the end, the truth found him, just like it always does.